It's time for Wise Money with Korhorn Financial Group with certified financial planners Kevin Korhorn, Mike Bernard, and Josh Gregory.
Welcome to another episode of the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group, where every week we're helping you take your next wise step in your financial life. Thanks for being here, friends. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm your host. I'm also one of the certified financial planners on the program. With me in the KFG studios, my business partners and fellow CFPs, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory.
Do you have financial goals for the upcoming year? And if so, are they written down? So looking across all 6 areas of your financial life, we're going to help you come up with the right financial goals and have the right approach to achieve them. That and more on this episode of the Wise Money Show.
That's right. It's resolution time. It's goal time. It's priority time. Really, that's what it is. If you're going to live your life, live it intentionally, specifically with your finances. And because the awesome thing about that is if you behave certain ways intentionally, proactively, and planfully, there you go, Kevin, with your finances, you are not going to focus as much on your finances. You are freed up then to live the life that you are called to, and knowing that your finances are taken care of. Oh, just love it. So we are excited to get into it. If you have a question for the program, we'd love to hear from you. Call or text 574-222-2000. That's 574-222-2000. Online, wisemoneyshow.com is where you can find us. And then all over social media, wherever you're at, we are there as well. Search The Wise Money Show. So listen to a podcast, a couple months ago now. And it was a podcast about success and like worldly success. So it's a little cringy, I think the cool kids would say. But there was some goodness in it. And one of the things that stood out was the podcaster was interviewing their guest, a female that's, CEO of something. And he asked about, hey, what was sort of the defining moment where you really started taking some intentional steps? And she said a very brief story. She had a mentor, and she was meeting regularly with this mentor. And the guy said, what's your net worth to the dollar? And she said, I don't know. And he said, well, you're focused on trying to grow wealth and build your net worth. How do you not know what it is? You need to know to the penny what's in your checking account, your bank account, and to the dollar what your net worth is at all times. And that sort of slapped her in the face. And she, basically the guy was like, hey, you're not serious about this. Because if you were serious, you would know. And so she started tracking it. And she says that from that point forward, she really obsessed about it. I think there's a lot of unhealthy stuff there, but she obsessed about it and it grew because of her focus. And she actually made a point of saying it grew. She's certain that it grew beyond what it would have grown simply because she was focused on it. So the question is, in your finances, are you focused on the right things? Are you focused on the right priorities so that you can have the right level of growth and accomplishments in your finances?
That's a brief story about that, because you're saying that she knew objectively what her net worth was. She focused on it, and it grew. And I remember back in a management class I had in college, they were referring to this study. They're studying factory workers, and they looked at what was the production if the light was high, what was the production if the light was low, what if it was medium, and
visible light.
Yeah,
okay.
The light in the factory.
Okay.
The lighting in the factory. They were studying the lighting in the factory and its impact on production. And you know what they concluded at the end of the study was the production had nothing to do with the lighting. It had to do with the attention that was paid to the workers. Mm-hmm. And the workers that had attention paid to them were more productive.
That's right.
So if you are focusing on something, the result will be different than if you're not focused on something.
What's the saying? You manage what you measure. If you're paying attention, if you're kind of keeping score, if you know where you're winning and where you're lagging behind where you want to be, you will make adjustments. And that could be in your financial life as we're talking, or it could be in your health. If there's a gap between where you want to be and where you actually are today, measuring that gap and recognizing that there's progress happening, I would argue that it's more about focusing on the behaviors or the activities that lead to the results as opposed to just always monitoring the results. Get earlier in the cause and effect chain that happens. So if, as we enter into the new year, if you're like me and you would confess that, about half the clothes in my closet don't fit like they once did. There's a gap between where I want to be and where I am. You may set some goals around that, but it's the behaviors that will lead to the right results that matter the most. That's really where your attention should be. And you're going to focus on those things if you're actually keeping score.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what are you prioritizing? And so, this is resolution season. We've talked about goals. You need to have financial goals. You need to write them down. But above and beyond that, or maybe like the thread that connects them is, what are you prioritizing intentionally? Another saying that we use around here is involvement is the catalyst for change. So if you're looking at that gap between where you are and the clothes in your closet, or the ones that you haven't been wearing, okay, there's a change. So get involved. That's the catalyst. Like measure it, focus on it, be intentional about it. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk around all 6 areas of your financial life. Your financial life, my financial life, Kevin's, Warren Buffett's, everyone's financial life is made up of 6 areas. And while we're going to talk about each area kind of one at a time, here's the big secret, and you know this if you're a fan of the Wise Money Show, you really can't compartmentalize. Like that's the big lie. Financially, we think, well, my present financial position, I've got a bank, or I've got a banking setup. My protection planning, I've got an insurance agent. My tax planning, I've got someone that does my taxes. My investments, I do that myself, or I meet with someone that does that. My estate planning, I've got an attorney. These are all separate. Well, if they're all separate and never connected, guys, the biggest and even small financial decisions impact almost all areas of your financial life. And so if they're not connected, you are making decisions in a vacuum. All right, I'll get off the soapbox.
No, but I think if you looked at a control panel with a number of different levers, it's interesting if you just reached over and adjusted one lever and you looked, there are other levers that are going to move without you realizing it.
Yeah, right. Good analogy. So let's start in present financial position. What are some priorities? What should you be attending to in your finances as we turn the page on the calendar?
Well, I think in terms of an operating system, and so I need to build an operating system. We would use a 3 bank account system for managing cash flow. But what's the operating system for my financial life? And then the other thing that that just comes to mind is, what are my habits? And one of our favorite books on habits is Atomic Habits. Mm-hmm. And so I'd be looking at that and say, what habits do I need to build because maybe your goals for 2025 should be based on what habits or disciplines are you going to try to instill. And if you look at that and you say, well, those habits don't exist right now, how would I do it? Now we're getting someplace. Mm-hmm. The contemplative time to figure out, how do I reorganize my life to optimize my present financial position?
Yeah. When we talk about present financial position, we're often talking about setting goals for things like savings. That could be emergency savings that you just need to have the rainy day fund because who knows what 2025 is going to bring. Or it could be some specific purchase or an expense that is on the horizon. You want to buy a house for the first time. What size down payment do you need to get? Maybe you need a car replacement that's coming up. Maybe you want to get engaged and you need to buy an engagement ring or something. Whatever that big ticket item is that's going to force you to save ahead. Having a goal attached to that is important, but then, as you said, Kevin, structuring your life to actually achieve it. And any place where you can automate a savings goal, that's a powerful way almost to take the discipline out of it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to make the decision that I'm setting aside $200 a month for that big purchase or that big expense. And I'm gonna make sure that the money automatically gets deposited into the right account so that I don't have to, on a month-to-month basis, keep making the hard choice, keep being disciplined, keep building that habit. And so if you're lacking good habits, automations are a way to kind of artificially get the same results, essentially.
Yeah, I completely agree. And maybe that's the action item that you needed. If that emergency fund is a little light, if there's a big goal and expense, maybe even it's a need, or if it's a want that you know is on the horizon, or just building the habit of saving. If you just confess, I've had a hard time building up savings, starting that automatic savings, maybe that's the priority. That's the first step that you need to take. What else? In the other 5 areas of your financial life, what are the financial priorities that you should have intentionally so that you can set yourself up for financial success in the year ahead? We've got that and more coming up on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for being here. This is the Wise Money Show. What you're watching right now is our weekly 1-hour talk show that airs right here on this channel, 10 a.m. Eastern Time every Saturday morning, also on podcast at the same time, and also on a couple local radio stations at the same time as well, which is why the content's broken up the way that it is with segments and all that sort of stuff. But if that's not your jam, if you're looking for something different length, different setup, we've got that too. Next Wise Step videos that air all throughout the work week, Monday through Friday, every single week. We've got well over 1,000 videos on the channel. The odds are, if you've got a financial question or curiosity, or you're considering a strategy, we've got content on it. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you're made aware every time we drop new content. If you like the content as well, appreciate it. How many more times can I say content? Content. This is, if you needed any proof that this is not scripted, we don't do that very well, so we just sort of talk.
That's funny.
All right, here we go. We'll pick things up briefly, but
For present financial position and then move on.
yeah, because I'm assuming protection planning might be a little bit shorter, and some of these might be a little bit shorter.
Sure.
So, what priorities should you have in your financial life so that you can really move the yardstick and really move the ball down the field in 2025 towards financial freedom, towards financial success? That's what we're helping with right now. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Thanks for being here. My name is Mike Bernard. With me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory. Stay up to date on all Wise Money content. Find us online, wisemoneyshow.com. Then all over social media, wherever you're at, we are there as well. Search the Wise Money Show. Talking about financial priorities this year, going around all 6 areas of your financial life, helping you focus on the right things so that you can have the right habits and make financial progress. Within present financial position, that's the first area of everyone's financial life. This is the blocking and tackling. This is managing cash flow, but also monitoring your net worth. Mm-hmm. I mentioned at the beginning a story of a gal who really got focused on her net worth and how it grew. I take that and apply it, Kevin, to one of the habits that you have said often, and that is your financial life needs to be decisionable. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot of unhealthy things if you do look at your money every single day. You could really get obsessed about it and obsess about those results instead of real life. Money is not life.
It should not be ruling your life, right?
At the same time, financial decisions come up quickly. Financial changes happen out of the blue. Mm-hmm. And therefore your financial life needs to be decisionable. And so what does that mean? You do need to have an updated net worth statement. And not for any, bragging reason or to get puffed up or to feel puffed down or I don't know, deflated. But more so to know where you stand. And that could present, we are a little light in the emergency fund. Ooh, we actually have more debt right now than we had 3 years ago. We need to prioritize that. And then just seeing that and then updating it. I mean, we every day for our clients because it's automated, but every quarter or every 6 months or once a year, you can see the progress that you're making. So that might be the action item. When's the last time you updated your net worth? Again, not because you're going to tell anyone, not because you want to feel good or feel bad, but just to know where you stand, a financial inventory. Do you have that?
Yeah. I think of that as a financial monitoring system, some way of taking your progress, making it visible so that you can be encouraged or you can be nudged back on track if you go off track, if you start lagging behind. Some of you may set as one of your priorities here in 2025, I have debt that I want to wipe out. And I want to wipe it out because I want to eliminate a payment. I want to have more freedom with my cash flow. There are things I want to do, but I can't because I owe this money or I have to make this monthly payment. Those obligations are always there. And so if you set up for yourself a goal to eliminate some debt more quickly than even what your lender requires of you, what if you sped that process along using something like a debt snowball approach? to me, one of the most powerful things about using a debt snowball is creating a schedule for yourself and then sticking to it, having it be visible where you can see, man, this debt is just melting right before my eyes because we're putting the right amount of payments towards this. If you can automate those payments and just know that they're going to happen month in and month out, that's even stronger yet. But to be able to watch the debt decline, that is just, it's fulfilling for a lot of people. It's satisfying, it's energizing, and in many ways, it could be the very thing that gives you the resolve to not go back into debt as well, because you see how hard it was, how much sacrifice it took to eliminate that debt. How do I now avoid debt moving forward in my financial life?
Yeah, lots of priorities. There could be, half of your financial goals you could find right there in your present financial position. Mm-hmm. Identify what those goals are, and if you're lacking creativity or some awareness, that's where you need to be working with your certified financial planner. Are you making progress in your financial life? What things can you set up automatically or intentionally to make the progress that you need to make?
But also look at how this is where you want to, in my humble opinion, involve your certified financial planner, because you might want to look and say, hey, I'm paying down student loan debt. There might be your folks might have a 529 plan that they're not going to use all of it for your siblings. If they're not going to use it all for your siblings, they might be able to make you the beneficiary of some of that, even up to $10,000 of it. And you could use that for a one-time loan payment on your student loans. And you think, well, where in the world? Like, you can't get there from here. Like, how is that even? Well, the Secure Act 2.0 changed it. It's new for this year. Lots of folks haven't done it. It's not as exciting to do in the state of Indiana for a litany of reasons that we won't go into here. But these are where you want to kind of be pushing on every door and saying, hey, how could I improve or optimize or change my financial life?
Yep. All right, let's pivot to the second area of everyone's financial life. That's protection planning. So how are you managing life's biggest financial risks? The risk of passing away early when you have some unfunded financial goals, the risk of a big health emergency, the risk of having a health issue, not being able to work, the risk of causing property damage or having some liability, and the risk of needing assistance with the activities of daily living. Those are the 5 major financial risks that we all face. So what priorities? I mean, you're probably not going to have goals in this area, but what priorities should you have?
Yeah, this isn't as fun to focus on as saving up for a big family vacation or a new car or something like that. But it is one of those financial concerns that you need to just deal with periodically. And you may have made some decisions as it relates to your various insurance coverages, things like your car insurance, your home insurance. Think about life insurance. Maybe when you first got married, you bought a little bit of life insurance in case something happened to you or your spouse. But maybe now you have kids. Maybe now you have more at risk if one of you were to pass away prematurely. Do you still have the right amount of life insurance in place? Or maybe even more importantly, do you have bigger income today from your working career? And if one of you or your spouse were to become disabled and couldn't work anymore, what is the financial hit to the family? It's different today than it was 5 years ago for you. And so periodically, it's important to just circle back to some of the decisions you already made in the past, some of the provisions you put in place, and say, okay, would I still make those same decisions today given how my life has changed, or do I need to make some adjustments?
Mm-hmm. I think also, speaking of adjustments and whatnot, we're still in this just crazy time with home and auto insurance, just crazy. Yeah. And you might feel a lot of things, but you might categorize them under I feel out of control. It feels out of control, and yeah, there is a lot of it that you can't control. What the insurance companies, how many claims that they have, or the price to resolve those claims, and therefore the price of the insurance that you have. You do have influence on a few things, though. The amount of coverage, you want to make sure that is consistent with your financial life. Right now, with these costs seemingly out of control, a lot of people are tempted to cut coverage, and all of a sudden now there's a gap. They're living with more risk. That's a dangerous predicament. Instead, maybe consider adjusting the deductible that you have or your payment frequency, right, to get some more discounts. There are hopefully some adjustments that you can make, and if you haven't made them yet, then maybe that's a priority for you in your financial life.
Yet, no one likes to review their home and auto insurance. It's not typically it's not on the top of the list, but as we will bring cases for new clients into case class and we'll review them, we look at things and we realize, wait a minute, this person put a new roof on 2 years ago, but in their policy it says their roof was put on in 2001. So with the new roof, it will change potentially the price of what you're paying. Hey, this person added a security system to their house. That changes. This person has just had a youthful driver come on. It did change the rates, but that we know that youthful driver is a good student. Did they get the good student discount? Or they had college students in their home that graduated and are now out on their own. Hey, do we get those students out on their own insurance policies and other things? So it's just the kind of the ongoing maintenance, and a lot of times we find with that it's just delayed maintenance because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and it's not really top of mind, like Kevin said. No one's excited to talk about or review their life insurance either, or disability insurance. So maybe the priority right now is for you to just work with your CFP to, hey, where do we stand with each of those things? Is there any maintenance work that needs to be done? Any updating, any adjustments that we need to make so that we're on the right path in protection planning for 2025? What about the other areas of your financial life? We've got that and more coming up on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group.
Third segment. We've been through 2.
Yeah, we're right on track.
So
right on track.
Couple each for the next.
Yeah. Tax planning, investment planning, retirement, and estate.
Piece of cake.
It'll be great. Here we go.
Can't wait.
It's a date. Okay, we're
You
no
gonna let
longer
him
funny.
win?
Do that as second rate.
There it is.
All right, here we go. Yeah. Do you have financial goals as you're laying out your resolutions, your goals? I'm sure there's a health-related one. There might be an employment or career-related one. Financially, do you have any goals or priorities that you want to focus on for the year ahead? We're helping with that right now. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. Thanks for being here. My name is Mike Bernard. With me in the KFC studios, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory. Stay up to date on all Wise Money content. Find us online, wisemoneyshow.com. And then also on podcast, wherever you listen, just search the Wise Money Show. Rate the program there as well. We appreciate it. All right, talking about financial priorities, whether you call them goals, if you do, write it down. Just the amount of intentionality that can come from that habit alone. Writing it down creates a little bit more ownership, a little bit more accountability. But yes, talking to your certified financial planner, having them hold you accountable, come up with the right strategies as well, and get them invested in you achieving that goal as well. We're walking through all 6 areas of your financial life. We've hit the first 2, tax planning. What are some financial priorities in the area of tax planning?
Well, because it's the end of the year, you want to be looking back at the past year and forward into the next year. So what might I want to do? Even just activities. We're talking about goal setting, but I'd say just some activities. What if your goal was to file your taxes before the tax filing deadline without extensions?
Yeah.
And you say, well, usually I'm scrambling. Usually it's a mess. It's not fun, whatever. What if you created an organizational structure so that your taxes could get done earlier this year, and by some activity over the holidays or whenever, you kind of de-stressed the tax preparation piece? So I think that could make some sense, but then I would think about tax planning and what do I want to pay? What's the income that I want to pay taxes on in 2025? And if I have that income, and people say, well, do I have a choice about what income? Absolutely you do, in a variety of ways. Some people don't have any control over their income. But if you do, what income do I want to have in 2025 to optimize not only 2025, but also the rest of my financial life?
Mm-hmm. And we're often talking about tax projections for the year that we're in or even the year that we're coming up to. And that is where you can kind of play with some of the numbers, so to speak, adjust where your income's coming from, what type of expenses you're writing off on your taxes so that you can pinpoint exactly what tax bracket you should be falling into. But I'm glad, Kevin, that you brought the attention to the long term as well, not just looking at the year 2025 and how you could adjust your tax picture there, but recognizing that you probably have investment dollars or other big assets that have some sort of a tax debt attached to them. There's an IOU to the government attached to things like your 401k, or maybe you have a traditional IRA, where as that money is growing, not only is your resource for retirement growing, but there's also a bill attached to it. When you pull money out of some of those accounts in retirement or anywhere along the line, you're going to have to treat it as income. You're going to have to pay tax on it. And so I would ask you, when was the last time that you not only quantified how much tax there could be kind of embedded essentially in your IRA, but what could it grow to out there in the future? This is one of the things that I just love watching our financial advisors do with their clients. They are not only forecasting how big can your retirement pool of assets grow to between now and when you ultimately retire, but also how do you deal with the tax ramifications of it? What kind of required minimum distributions might be happening out there in the future when you're age 73 or maybe it's 75 for you? What are you going to be obligated to pay? And could you be doing something about it now? Could you find more strategic places along the timeline of your life between here and retirement or even into retirement to find a better year, to count some of those assets as income, to pay the tax on it while the tax is temporarily smaller? Those types of multi-year tax projections or that type of retirement forecast allows you to make some really great decisions by just being proactive, looking way down the line instead of getting too short-term in your thinking.
Yeah. When I think taxes and potentially goals or priorities, I also, again, we already said that you've got 6 areas to your financial life. You can't really separate them. But I do think about the next area as well. So I'm just going to blend the two together, investment planning. I don't know. We've been really close friends for decades now. We all share a similar trait. We're fairly competitive, not against each other, but fairly competitive. And anytime the IRS sets contribution limits out there, I feel like that's a competition. And from the moment I started my career or became aware of it, anytime there was a Roth IRA contribution limit, I wanted to hit it. And then just striving. Oh, there's this 401k contribution limit. Oh, there's no way I'll ever hit that. Oh, no, wait, maybe I can hit it. I'll find a way to hit it. Let me see if I can hit it. And so recognizing the contribution limits to these various tax shelters, coming up with your tax shelter strategy. Should it be pre-tax? Should it be Roth? Should it be a combination of the three? Should it be HSA, that sort of thing? And then just trying to ring the bell, right? Trying to hit those contribution limits. And if you say, no, I'm in the camp, Mike, where that just seems totally unrealistic, then maybe a different goal would be saving a certain percentage of your income, 15%, 10%. And if you say, no, Mike, I'm not there either, then have a goal of increasing it 1% or 2%. And this year, big change coming to 401k contribution limits. That big change is they increased it $500. No, I'm just kidding. That's not the big change. Your contribution limit is going from $23,000 to $23,500. The big change is on the catch-up contribution because it stayed the same. At age 50, you can do $7,500. But no, I'm just kidding. There's a super catch-up contribution. You know, guys, we were doing backdoor Roths before they called them backdoor Roths. And I remember when someone told me, oh, you mean the backdoor Roth? And I remember looking at them like they had a third eye or something. Like, what? I suppose you could call it a backdoor Roth, and now that's what everyone calls it. We've been talking about this extra tier of this catch-up contribution that starts at age 60. Apparently, they're calling it the super catch-up. I have no idea if that will stick or not. That's not a Congress term. That's not a KFG term, but it might be the way that they're describing it. But the super catch-up starts and goes into effect in 2025. And again, if you see this as a competition, know that if you are between the ages of 60 and 63, you now have an additional catch-up, above and beyond, that you can contribute to your 401k or 403b. Instead of $7,500, which is the normal catch-up, in the year you turn age 60, 61, 62, or 63, you can do $11,250. But if you are 63 and you're turning 64 in 2025, sorry, for whatever reason, you are left out of this. Turning 64 and beyond, no super catch-up to you. I know.
I wish someone had campaigned on fixing that one. Well, because that's just dumb.
No, because no one would have understood it.
That's right.
It would have fallen on deaf ears.
Yeah, I mean, so the exciting thing is I can put another $3,750 in my retirement plan, 60 to 63. So that
It's not going to move the needle a whole lot. In other words,
no, and I
what kind of
feel like
impact?
I've lost a couple brain cells just even thinking about it. So
But when this was part of Secure Act 2.0, and when they came out with those 100, I think it was just over 100 tax law changes, a couple things happened at that exact moment. Everything got more complicated.
yep.
In many areas, you got more choice. And all that leads to comprehensive financial planning is now more important than ever. Because with more choice comes more decision. And don't think that, well, I'll just keep doing everything the way that I'm doing. I'm not going to make a decision. No, that's a decision. Despite the complexity and the frustration with these rules and blah, blah, blah. Hey, I'll take being able to contribute a little bit more. Even if it's just for 4 years. I'll do that. Sure.
That's right. The more complicated the financial world becomes, the more choices that you are facing, the more important it is to know exactly who your team is that you go to for financial wisdom. Who's your sounding board? What's your financial operating system, as Kevin said, for making these types of decisions? That we believe that the most important or the best of all the options on the table is to take that comprehensive financial planning approach.
Yep, that's right. So that's where I would take that tax planning goal and infuse it with an investment goal of how much money, how much of my income, how much of your income can you have growing your net worth and buying assets and owning assets. And so I would merge those two together. What about the other financial priorities you should have? We've got 2 more parts of your financial plan. That more coming up on the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group.
Okay.
I made the mistake of looking at an email. I'm seeing some Teams messages, and all of a sudden I downloaded a new version of Outlook.
Is it written in Russian?
No. It looks new. I don't know.
Yeah, that's funny.
I'm hoping everything's okay.
Right. Well, you're 10 and a half minutes away from getting to fix that.
Self-destruct, maybe?
Maybe.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Landing the plane. I have no idea. If there's more stuff you want to talk about with investments, you can just take us there, but we'll go into retirement planning. That'll probably take the bulk of the 4th segment. So, alrighty. Because we just did the show about if you're planning on retiring in the year ahead, so we could touch on some of those things as well. But 4th segment, landing the plane.
Let's do it.
Thanks for being here. This is the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group. My name is Mike Bernard. With me in the KFG studios, Kevin Korhorn and Josh Gregory. Every episode of the Wise Money Show is on the YouTube channel. Go check it out. Go to YouTube, search the Wise Money Show. Subscribe to it there. Well over 1,000 videos, lots of content, not just the talk show that you're listening to or watching right now, but next wise step videos that take a certain financial concept one at a time, usually, and applying it directly to your financial life, all so that you can take your next wise step from a financial planning perspective, the next wise step in your financial life. So go to YouTube, search the Wise Money Show, subscribe to it there, turn on notifications so you're aware as well. We appreciate it. All right, going through all 6 areas of your financial life, talking about what potential financial priorities you should have for the year ahead. Whether you want to solidify them as goals or you'd call it a resolution, it doesn't really matter. If you're trying to build wealth and have financial freedom, do that intentionally. Do that intentionally. What should you prioritize? What needs attention in your financial life? Working with your certified financial planner, having the clarity and confidence that you're taking the right approach in each of these areas, and then getting any creative suggestions as well. Those 3 things equal calm in your finances. I don't know of anyone that wants chaos, a 5th C. So let's turn over to retirement planning. What are some of the priorities or goals or things that you should be focused on in your finances in the area of retirement planning?
Well, first of all, I like how in the last segment you kind of married together tax planning and investment planning, and even kind of challenged our listeners to be thinking about what size bucket is available for you to be contributing to, and can you go fill the bucket up? Whether that's a 401k at work or you use a Roth IRA personally, whatever it is. But I'll marry one more of the 6 areas of financial planning to this one, or those 2. Retirement planning is something that you need to know, well, what is the right amount for you to be contributing? Regardless of how big the buckets are, the contribution limits for your 401k or your Roth IRA, what amount do you need to be accumulating on an annual basis so that your vision for your retirement is achievable? What's going to help you get to affordable on your picture of retirement? And so if you are early in your working career, we love to challenge brand new professionals or brand new workers starting their working career to just get started right out of the gate, at least saving 15%. Mm-hmm. And that should be 15% of your money, in my opinion. If there's an employer match on top of that, let's consider that icing on the cake if you can afford it. But here's what I can tell you. Everyone that I know, every client that we've ever served who gets started in that way, you very quickly get used to just living on the 85% that's left over after you've already paid yourself first, so to speak, or you've saved up front. If you just get used to living off of that 85%, paying your taxes, paying your mortgage, putting food on the table, all of that out of the 85%, I can tell you a few things. The 85% is going to get bigger over time. You're going to earn more money, and so your lifestyle is going to grow as you get further into your career. But you also just naturally have more control over your finances because you are playing a more active role in the management of those finances. And I'll also tell you, you will quickly be encouraged by what that 15% begins to accumulate. Yeah. You're getting a lot of dollars set aside into compounding investments. And when that compounding really picks up steam, man, it feels like great progress. And it allows you to feel like, yeah, financial freedom is coming closer and closer to me every year that goes by.
And notice that when that compounding really starts working for you, is typically after you feel like it's not working for you. Yeah. So I'm sure we will feel that at some point, or maybe for a lot of 2025. I have no idea. However, just know that power of compounding is often felt right after you feel like it's gone.
Right.
So I would add a few more things for in the area of retirement planning. If you haven't built a retirement plan, I'm not talking about a 401k, 403b, those are retirement plans too, but I mean a personal retirement projection. Here's where I stand today. Here's where I'm hoping to be. Am I on track? What do I need to do to get on track? And then on an ongoing basis, knowing whether you're there. If you haven't built that, 2025 is the year. I don't care how old you are. 2025 is the year. If you say, yeah, I already do. Is it a 5-factor retirement plan? And by that, I mean, does it look at all of the 5 major decisions that all are interrelated to help you determine whether you are on track? If it was just an online calculator or you just did some math in your head, that's not a retirement plan. It's not. It's not. And then if you say, no, I actually do have one of those. Yeah, great. Then you got to update it.
Yeah.
Tune into it in 2025. The world has changed. Likely you're spending more money. Medicare rates have changed. Tax rates are, or tax strategies are changing. cost of living adjustments, while there wasn't a huge one for Social Security from 24 to 25, there was obviously a huge one a couple of years ago. And so update it, know where you stand, see if there's any adjustments that you need to make to your retirement plan and decisions.
If you are contemplating retirement in the year 2025 and you've never paused to just check and make sure that you're fully ready, before the cement has dried and you've already given notice to your employer or you've started selling your business or whatever, I think it's important, again, to tune into that retirement plan. Do you know how much can I afford to spend when I step into retirement? How much am I going to need to draw off of my accounts to supplement things like Social Security and any other income sources that you have rolling in? And will that money, that pool of assets that you've built up, will it last as long as you need it to? Now's the time to be thinking about that. And again, if you don't have a certified financial planner that you are trusting to help you analyze that, to measure twice, cut once, as the carpenters say, then I encourage you to seek one out. And if you don't know where to begin that search, we are happy to have a conversation with you personally about what that would look like if it was Korhorn Financial Group that was serving you in that way.
Yeah. All right. Last area of your financial life, my financial life, everyone's financial life, is estate planning. Also, not an area where you're probably setting resolutions or making some big financial goals. More so, do you have some sort of nudge? I feel I've been kind of carrying this around. I need my will done. I need my estate plan updated. I'm not sure the beneficiaries are right. Like, normally people live with that for a while. It's sort of like the pebble in your shoe or whatever. And yeah, I can continue to function, but it just stays with me. I stay thinking about it. Maybe the priority for 2025 in this area is to work with your CFP, see what sort of structure is appropriate for your estate plan, then work with the right attorney or the right folks to get all of that updated.
Yeah, this is something that doesn't ever have to be done, and so therefore, oftentimes it just doesn't get done. Or you meet with folks and they're like, yeah, well, we did that 20 years ago when we had little kids. We don't have little kids anymore. And so you say, well, it's probably a good time. And we don't know exactly how things are going to shake out by the end of the year, by the end of 2025. Yeah. There's a sunset coming, and we'll see where things land. But if you are subject to federal estate tax, you may want to plan. It's very interesting because we have folks that are subject to federal estate tax that are in their 50s and in their late 80s. And what's the difference? Well, it's a lot, I don't know. It does seem a little easier to plan and to actually give up some control if I'm in my late 80s than if I'm in my mid 50s, because I just have a longer time period. But you really want to take all of your assets and make sure you know how these are going to pass. Do I have any assets that I should be protecting? Is there anything that I should be transferring ownership on now while I'm alive? Or is it best for me to be waiting until I'm gone? For step-up purposes, there's all kinds of questions that you kind of want to walk through with your financial advisor.
When I think of estate planning, I think of someday I'm going to pass away, and the assets that I have been a steward of during my lifetime are going to pass to someone else. And so I start thinking about those stewards. For many of you, it will be your children, maybe your grandchildren. Who's going to receive the dollars that are left over at the end of your life, and are they prepared for them? Do they have the right skills and the right character to be able to bear up under the responsibility that you've been carrying? If not, maybe this is the year that you need to make an investment in their preparation. And I encourage you to give thought to who's coming behind you.
And work with your CFP on that. All right. That's all the time we have for today. On behalf of Josh Gregory, Kevin Korhorn, all of us at Korhorn Financial Group, have a great weekend. We'll see you next Saturday for the Wise Money Show with Korhorn Financial Group.
Securities offered through Silver Oak Securities, member FINRA/SIPC. Advisory services offered through KFG Wealth Management, LLC. Doing business as Korhorn Financial Group. KFG Wealth Management, LLC and Silver Oak Securities Incorporated companies are unaffiliated.